Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeline and I create crafting content here on YouTube. In today's video, I have a fun review for you of some yarn. And this yarn is actually some that I got at Joann's the other day. So basically what's been happening to me recently is whenever I go into Joann's, usually on Saturday mornings, they have these little bags up near the registers. And basically after you check out, you can just take one of the bags for free. So one of the ones I've gotten is the Magic Loop yarn. So on the bag, it shows the two patterns that you could get. So in here, you could get the heart or the star. And I don't actually know which one I've gotten yet. And then just as another example, another thing I got is this You Can Do It Take Home Drawstring bag. So I just grabbed one of those as well. I thought it was fun and I might as well try it. So in this video, I'm gonna be doing the Loop It yarn, and I'm gonna give you all my thoughts along the way. I have done Loop It yarn before, but I've never tried one of these magic ones where it basically creates the design for you and you never have to change yarn colors. The design just appears. So I'm excited to try it and I'll share my thoughts along the way. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave those down below. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. I have lots of new fun videos coming out soon, so that's the best way to keep up to date is to hit that red subscribe button. Let's get started. So first, let's just check out which yarn I got. So in my bag, I got the Off the Hook magic yarn, and this one's gonna create the heart shape. So just a few details about this yarn. It comes with, let's see, 3.3 ounces or 95 grams. And typically these loop yarns don't give you a yardage amount, it's all just done in grams. So again, on this one, I don't see anything that says yards. It is a size jumbo yarn, and you don't need knitting needles or anything because it's the Loop It yarn. And I did look this yarn up on the Joann's website, and it looks like typically it's on sale and it typically retails for around $5. I'll link it down below. It doesn't have the best reviews. It doesn't seem like people were too happy with how the shapes turned out. So I'm curious to give it a try myself. So let's see if I can find the pattern. Don't see a pattern on the outside. And there's no pattern on the inside either. So maybe I'll have to go onto the website to figure out how to get this one started. Okay, so when I went on the Lion Brand website, I was able to find a YouTube video that explains how to work this yarn. They didn't have any written instructions or anything, which is a little bit frustrating. I feel like if anything, they should have just put some written instructions on the label. Would have made it a little bit straightforward, but oh well. I watched the video. I'll link it down below if you're curious about it. And basically what it sounds like is there's one starter loop. We're gonna count out 26 loops. And then we're gonna begin working back and forth over 21 loops. And that's what's gonna give us the heart shape. So let's give it a try. So there's my first row. Now I'm gonna keep on going. And I just double checked too to make sure my heart was starting in the center. So the heart starts off with the one light pink. So I just double checked that I had 10 loops on one side and 10 loops on the other, and that the heart would end up in the right place. And so far so good. So as I'm going along, I have my first complaint kind of, and I'm just not the biggest fan of how they joined the different colors. So essentially they just cut the two different loops and tied them together, and it kind of creates this big knot every time it switches. So like over here you can see the knot. And then on the back, you don't notice them as much, but you can see them. It just kind of bothers me that in the front you can see them a little bit. Like this is a little yarn tail right there. Here's another one. And it does kind of cause them to fray a bit too. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're using this yarn is these knots are there and they do fray a little bit. That's kind of why like throughout this yarn you see tidbits of the other color. So here is my finished square. This one measures Looks like just over 14 inches by just over 15 inches. So mine didn't end up being a perfect square. Pretty close though. So at the beginning when I cast on, I had 5 extra loops. And then when I cast off, I also had 5 extra loops. So they basically give you the exact right amount. As I mentioned before, you can see some of the knots poking through. And then the thing I didn't like most was basically like all this fraying that occurs. So you can see all this other color yarn just kind of all throughout this. It's like little pieces fell off. Yeah, like on the back there's some yellow yarn. But yeah, there's a lot of fraying that happened, not really fraying, but like shedding of the different colors just because of all the knots that are tied. So eventually, I mean, I guess I could lint roll it or something, but then these knots would probably keep on breaking down more and more. So something to keep in mind. The back, oops, I'd say the back does look pretty good. Again, some of the knots are kind of large, so they do stand out a bit. All in all, I'd say it turned out pretty well. I would say I would use this for something like a pillow if you wanted a pillow. I don't know if necessarily I'd use this as a blanket. Like maybe if you did like 9 squares or something of the different patterns. But then I feel like the downside is all these knots that are on the back. I just don't like the way it looks necessarily. So that's just my personal opinion. I'd say this yarn overall, it's all right. I do tend to prefer the solid loop yarn instead over this, but that's just my personal opinion. It would make a cute pillow or something like that. This square overall took me about 40 minutes to make. It didn't take much or less longer than the loop yarn usually would for the design because it's already incorporated in. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions about this yarn, please feel free to leave those down below and I'll get back to you about that. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.